Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-winning author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes, Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. 4 Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw-up pillows, tote bags, hoodies, and more. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and also phone cases and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can also buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com at the Mike Wagner Show. Make sure you do so today. We can all use some. We're here with a terrific lady who was being a photographer, and she was photographing both relatives and strangers since she first got a camera, which is a Kodak Instamatic. Brings just amazing memories for you camera buffs out there. And she did this on family vacations as a child and began when someone took a picture of her holding her husband's hands on wedding day. We'll talk about that. And of course, the new book called Holding Hands captures the pics from all walks of life. Holding hands, that's something you really don't see these days. And why is it so important? We'll find out. And of course, if you also buy the book, also supports the Hope for Depression Research Foundation. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, she's not just a photographer, but the author of Holding Hands and just beautiful pictures. We just checked it out. We encourage you to go to the website there, holdinghands.com, and let's hold hands and join in and welcome our amazing guest, ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Diane Conn. Diane, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today. And you can hold hands, guys. It's okay. So,
thank you. Thank you so much for having me join you. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. And then when I saw your thing about holding hands, it's something that's really missing these days. And before we get into that, you've been photographing relatives and strangers for quite some time. And you did this since you got your first camera, which is the Kodak Instamatic X24. I believe I got that right, on family vacations as a child. And this project began when someone took a picture of you holding your husband's hands on wedding day. We'll talk about that. And your new book captures all the pictures from all walks of life holding hands. And it's just an amazing book. And of course, you also support an amazing cause as well, too. And before getting to all that, Diane, tell us how you first got started.
I did indeed get that Kodak Instamatic 124 camera in high school for selling raffle tickets for the winter carnival.
Oh my goodness.
Because I grew up in Quebec, had a lot of snow in it. And those days, of course, was a roll of film and a film camera that you had to get developed. So I was very careful about what I took pictures of. And often it was, you know, a little person and standing in front of a snowbank or a car outside of a house. And they were not very exciting. But as I grew older, I took more pictures with it. And I liked to be the person carrying the camera who got the photos of whatever was going on. So I have pictures of our friends in school plays and sports events and parties and, you know, not many, but a few. And over the years, as you know, cameras changed and eventually became digital quite a while ago. And long before iPhone cameras. And I started using a digital camera, which was great because you could take a lot of photos and discard the ones you didn't like. And my husband, who has done many things in his life, was originally a photographer as a teenager, a
Oh, wow.
well-known, award-winning, second in the Pulitzer when he was a kid, photographer during World War II. And I learned an awful lot by watching him take photos, because what I thought was a blank wall with some shadows on it became a gorgeous image. What I thought was a group of people waiting in line became something else. And on our wedding day, the favorite photo I have from all the wedding pictures is a photo taken of the two of us holding hands. Somebody took from behind and cropped it. You don't have any idea who the people are. You can kind of guess maybe the occasion, but there's something about that connection of seeing those two hands held together that for me really triggered me into thinking about this as an image. And took a few years for it to really cook up, but that couple of years later, I started taking photos of people holding hands from the back. And I've been doing it for years. I have close to 10,000 separate images at this point.
Wow, 10,000 images and people holding hands. That's a lot of hands to hold, like 20,000 hands right there, and 10,000 just coming together. And what was it, one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career, besides holding hands, of course? So
I think part of it was also learning how important it is to hold hands, both for that sense of connection with someone else. Even holding your own hand can actually be helpful, because holding the hands lowers blood pressure, increases feelings of well-being, increases oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone, has us feel connected. And because of all the nerve endings and blood flow and everything else through the hands, it just feels good. And this sounds ridiculous, but we have an African gray parrot. And that parrot, when I get that parrot holding onto my finger, because it sits on my finger, it will not let go. And I swear it's because it wants to hold hands. It just feels the warmth of my fingers through its claws, and it will just sit there and sit there and sit there. I usually have to bribe it with a cashew or a chocolate chip cookie to actually step off my fingers.
I'm about to try that next time when I get a parrot, except my animals will probably eat as well too. And of course I did that with my cat as well too. It's just like you take your finger and put it underneath its paw. And it's like, I mean, they purr like crazy. You can do like, more than one ways, with the dog, you also put on your paw, or it's like the paw can just lay in your hand. Then there's more than one way of holding hands, with different animals.
Absolutely.
Hmm. And of course, with your photographer, your husband being a photographer as well too, and second the Pulitzer Prize and everything. Who are some of your favorite photographers growing up, along with his favorites?
Well, I still love David Douglas Duncan, who took a lot of photos. He was famous for his photos of the Korean War, but he took pictures his whole life. He died at 97. And I found one of his books because my husband Mace collected there's thousands of books in the library, and there's also a lot of photography books. And Atget, the French photographer, and Lartigue, the French photographer, Weston, the American photographer, Stieglitz, there's a lot of them. Dorothy, the one who did the Depression photographs. There's amazing photographers all over the world, and it's such a pleasure to see them. Very different from what we see in Nat Geo. I'm talking more about candid photos of people who don't know they're being photographed. Those are my favorites.
That's rather interesting. And what is your most favorite photograph of all time? Not just one with the holding hands, but you see in the media and everything else. What's your favorite photograph of all time?
That's a very good question. There was a photograph that was in National Geographic years ago. And there's my favorite, and there's the ones that stayed with me. So I happen to love photographs of the Queen because I'm Canadian and I grew up singing God Save the Queen. I respect her. But in terms of searing photographs, there's one of the Hindenburg, landing and bursting into flame.
I remember that.
Of the Americans going into the Auschwitz and Birkenau, the Holocaust camps, and finding the victims. And another one is taken in Africa during the famine some years ago, and there's a child starving to death, and there's a buzzard standing on the road. And the child's not going to make it. And apparently that photographer died by suicide some years later, because it was so difficult to cover events like that where they were so distressing to see and to try and document. And I'm also thinking of the war photographers these days, and over all the photographers these last years and just these last weeks who have died in the line of duty trying to document what's going on in the world. So I like the news photography a lot. And I also like some scenery is extraordinary, and some, of course, the animal ones.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say what your favorite animal would be? Not just the pictures, but overall. It's like, penguins are my favorite when it comes to pictures as well. Those are my favorite.
I love giraffes. I love giraffes. I was on a safari some years ago in Africa, and just seeing them with their long, skinny legs and their weird body scale lope around and sort of eat way up high on the trees and wrap their necks around each other when they want to be social. It was just wonderful to see.
Wow. Having the giraffes around their necks, that's like their version of holding hands. That is
something. Their version, and the LA Zoo, the giraffes here are sort of down in a pit. So when you're walking past them, their heads are at eye level. So you're looking in the face of these giraffes with the most amazing eyelashes you've ever seen, which are hard to see unless you're seeing them up close. But I think they're amazing creatures.
They got to be amazing as well, too. And that's a version of holding hands. And speaking of holding hands, we'll talk about her book in just 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com on over 30 podcast platforms, and take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise at the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. And for more great ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mia Molson-Zia store, including Once, Missing, Wrinkles, and more, and cool merchandise. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. But the Mike Wagner Show, make sure you do so today. We're here with an amazing lady who's not just an author of Holding Hands, but also a photographer here on the Mike Wagner Show. And she talked about a great story, how she was photographing both relatives and strangers since she first got her camera, which is the Kodak Instamatic 124, and also the book called Holding Hands as well, too. And before getting the book, and it seems like due to social media, it seems like holding hands has become more lacking as well, too. And of course, I guess just a thing, it's like, why has gone away, and just like to see him make a big comeback. Why isn't holding hands again the most important despite social media?
It's interesting. I've been thinking about that. I notice fewer and fewer younger people holding hands. Teenagers in the old days, it was a big deal to hold hands with somebody, and you were really proud to do it, and you did it, and as a woman, you wanted it to last a long time. It's hard to get pictures of young people holding hands. I can say that because I've watched thousands of them, and they might have their arms around each other, but the sort of PDAs, public displays of affection, are apparently not cool these days. And I have very few teenagers holding hands. I have a lot of kids and slightly older kids in the book. And the way I wanted to tell the story of holding hands is that from youngest age, we hold hands all through our lives. So on the cover of the book, the photographs are taken in age order of the subject, so that you get the idea. There's a kid holding hand at the beginning, and at the end we're down to the old folks holding hands, and that all through life people want to hold hands because they want to be connected. And it turns out it's great for the brain, it's great for social And I spoke to a neuroscientist at the University of Virginia, who I'm going to go and speak down there because he studies holding hands. And I told him about my informal study methods of taking all these thousands of photographs. And I said, when I put the photographs on my computer in the photo program, and I spend hours looking at images of people holding hands taken from the back, going through all these images, I start to feel better. I can feel my mood lift. I don't want to leave the computer. I just want to keep looking at these photos of these connected people. And so we're talking about doing some research together where somebody like you, Mike, is put in an fMRI machine. You're lying in there. They're tracking your brain, your heart, your muscle movements, your mood, everything, watching what's going on. And they're showing you pictures of people holding hands.
Wow.
And seeing what your response is in the moment. And to me, that's incredibly exciting because it could be that this really is another tool that people can add into their toolkit of, feeling better and how to feel better, because especially these last few years, a lot of people have really struggled with isolation and being alone. And wouldn't it be great if just looking at images could have a positive effect?
Mm-hmm. And what period do you think the holding hands started to decline?
Well, other than the teenagers who I think are a little too self-conscious, I find that people hold hands all through life, literally. And my favorite photo, if you don't have a copy of the book, I'm shocked, and I will make sure you get one immediately.
I did get one when you guys sent it to me in the email. And in fact, now that you mention it, I should have printed it out, to be honest with you. But you know something? Maybe I can just find a little something here. Actually, we're copying off of Amazon Help. Is that okay?
I will. Yes, that would be great. You could buy one on Amazon.com. Holding Hands by Diane Conn, Conn. This is the very last image in the book. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And it is my favorite image. I don't know anything about these two ladies walking along the sidewalk. They each have a cane. One of them is holding the other's hand. I don't know where they're going, maybe home. I don't know if they're related or friends or support friends, but boy, are they saying something about life and being together. And that's the kind of thing that I took from this book, is that life really is about being connected, however that means. I know different cultures hold hands differently or don't hold hands. Some cultures, women hold hands a lot. Some cultures, men hold hands a lot. Some cultures, nobody holds hands.
Oh, wow.
So, it's really interesting, and there's a lot more research to do, but it also ties in with the research of touch, but this is quite different to have the link. A lot of them, hold a finger, something, but there's a lot of people who hold like this or hold like this. It's really been an extraordinary opportunity to do this work. And I've tied it in with the Hope for Depression Research Foundation, because they're doing such great work in fighting the stigma of depression and working to find ways to help people feel better. So I've been in touch with them. I've produced short films for them on depression, and I'm giving them a portion of the proceeds from the book.
And before we talk about your group as well, too, that you support the Hope for Depression research, and you brought up an interesting point about certain cultures and certain countries holding hands, not holding hands, and everything. What are some of the countries that hold the hands the most, and what are some of the countries that barely hold hands, or it's like don't touch?
Well, the Latin countries tend to hold hands a lot, and so do the French, interestingly enough. Just for this, now these are just street samples that I've got, and in parts of America. I have not spent time in Asia, but I have seen large numbers of Asians holding hands in this country. The countries where it's inappropriate for men and women in particular to hold hands are generally Israel and the Middle East and Arab countries. It doesn't appear to be appropriate for men and women to be holding hands. Men might hold hands with each other. There was a famous photo of President Bush holding hands with one of the Arab leaders, which got a lot of comment, but it was standard in those countries and not in ours.
Huh, that's really interesting. You learn about culture, you learn about the people and everything else. And also, too, just another thing with the holding hands as well, too. And what else can people get from the book as well too, and maybe some other things you can also learn about holding hands. And yeah, I'm still holding hands, by the way, too. So
I appreciate that. Well, they did discover in 1500 years ago, they found these skeletons in near Modena in Italy, and the skeletons were holding hands. And it took them, at first they just thought, oh my God, what is this? And then they looked at them and thought, these are two male figures holding hands. Are they brothers? Are they friends? Are they lovers? Nobody knows. But even that long ago, they were holding hands.
wow, that is something. I think that's something a lot of archaeologists could just take on as well too. Next time they find King Tut, whoever it is, whose hand did he hold or something? So it's amazing. And what would you say? What would you say besides the one at the end of the book? Here, some of your other favorite ones, maybe the most unusual, and maybe like the most colorful of someone holding hands.
Well, there's a couple of couples in sports t-shirts. They are supporting, I don't know who number 21 is. I'm not sure what the team is, but they're both wearing the same number t-shirt and baseball cap as they're going to a game. It seems to be a B, so it might be Boston.
Boston Red Sox, I see that.
So I don't know who the player is, but they seem quite excited to be going to see them together. I always liked that one. And there's a couple, this is at Bryce Canyon in Utah. I was walking to see those amazing structures, and this couple is just holding hands, walking along. Everybody else is looking at photos, and there they are holding hands, which I kind of loved. I like taking, and then the problem is, if you're hiking, people aren't usually holding hands while they're hiking because they're busy hiking.
Mhm.
But there's another photo of a threesome walking along. I love when people sort of have canes and they're holding hands because
Wow.
they do the holding hands anyway, even they're doing something else, or the parents who are holding bags in one hand and the kid's hand in the other. And at the very end of the kids section, I followed this young man around through Central Park with his mom for, I don't know, half a mile or so. And he was walking along, throwing up a baseball with his right hand and holding his mom's hand with his left hand. And for the most part, the baseball was going up against the sky, so you couldn't see it. And at one point, they walked past a tree. And in this photo, you can see he's throwing the baseball up, and you can see it because it's in front of the tree. And he's about to catch it on its way down while he's holding his mom's hand.
Oh my gosh. That's got to be a skill. Unbelievable.
I thought so too. I could barely imagine doing it at all. Never mind walking along, holding my mom's hand. And I wonder now what's happened to this kid. Is he going to become a baseball player?
Maybe the Yankees will sign him or the Red Sox. Who knows? And of course, you also got groups that hold hands as well too. It's not just couples, but it's like groups. It's like several hundreds, even thousands holding hands, almost like a chain too. That's a popular one.
Absolutely, especially when you see little groups of kids going somewhere. You can hear sort of the teacher say, now hold hands, hold hands. So I think it's a wonderful call to action for people. It feels good. Certainly these days when, the world is in such a disruptive state in so many ways, and there's so much sadness and upset. It's something people can do. And just even, talking to somebody and putting your hand on theirs. Or I talk about this in the introduction. When I see friends after a long time, I love sitting across the table and just touching hands, just to say, I'm here and I know you're there, because it's a wonderful feeling of connection.
And it sounds like it as well too. And of course, despite social media, this needs to get back into form as well too. And where can we find Holding Hands at?
It is available for now on Amazon.com. You can also buy it through my website. They are holdinghands.com. It's Holding Hands by Diane Conn, Conn. Soon to be available also in Canada. And on Kindle, you can get it in many parts of the world.
We certainly will do so, and we'll talk more about the Hope for Depression research and more about Diane Conn, what she got coming up in 2022, and find out in just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. We'll be back with author and photographer Diane Conn of Holding Hands after this time out. We're back with author and photographer Diane Conn of Holding Hands here on the Mike Wagner Show. And I'm at a point just can't let go. But of course, we still got things to do. Oh, yes, you can do many ways. Oh, I forgot all about that, believe it or not. So And what can you expect me in 2022 and beyond? But first, let's continue more about the Hope for Depression research. Again, tell us about the foundation and why is it so important?
Well, it's very interesting. This woman, Audrey Gruss, started the foundation because her mother, whose name was Hope, struggled with depression her whole life. And as a young woman, Audrey watched her mother struggle and thought, I want to do something about this. And she got to a place where she was able to do something. And she started this foundation called Hope for Depression, which is an amazing name because it combines both her mother's name and the desire that there is hope for depression. You know, for so long, I'm sure you're aware, the audience may not be, the only drug available for many, many years was lithium, which was a very difficult drug to be on. They didn't know how to calibrate it. Everybody was put on the same heavy dose. My mother was on lithium for some years, and eventually she died by suicide when I was a teenager. And that has always stayed with me because in those years, nobody talked about difficulties, nobody discussed being depressed or mental health or suicide. And if anybody listening right now is having a tough time, you can call the 1-800-suicide number. It's a 24/7 hotline available anywhere in the country. There's also a crisis texting line, and that number is 741-741. You can call 24/7 and you will get a response. And those are the kinds of things we now have to help people, learn to live with their feelings and issues and get some support when they need it. And the foundation is very involved with fighting the stigma of hope of depression. And also they're funding scientists from across a number of different fields, working together to collaborate on finding new cures and new solutions for depression. And I'm really excited to be working with them.
And very exciting as well, too, especially with PTSD on the rise and everything. And this needs to be mentioned as well, too. Once again, where can we find the Hope for Depression at, and how can we help?
The book, Hope for Depression, is hopefordepression.org. It's a website, and they also have a number of really helpful videos on their website. They talk about the work that the scientists are doing, and they really are amazing. They raise money every year for research. A lot of people are involved. Young people are ambassadors. And every year they have a main speaker who talks about their experience. Anderson Cooper spoke a couple of years ago about his experience losing his brother to suicide and what that was like for him and how he worked his way through it and talked about it. You know, that's one of the big things these days, is to get folks to talk about what's going on. And this is one of them, is to take advantage of the help that's there if you can, and call these numbers if you're in trouble, the 1-800-suicide number, the 741-741 crisis text, and please reach out if you need help, because you deserve it.
We certainly would do so. We urge everybody to take care as well. We're here with author and photographer Diane Conn of kind of holding hands here on the Mike Wagner Show. And just a few more things. You've been totally amazing. And I really love the book. Encourage everybody to get it. And what can we expect from you in 2022 and beyond, Diane?
I have 2 more books in the pipeline. I'm loving doing this. I'm starting to do more PR and marketing for this book. And the next one is on backs. I have
Backs.
definitely, I take people of the backs holding hands, but they're holding hands. These are people taken from the back, sometimes alone, sometimes in 2s or 3s or 5s or 20s. But again, they're spontaneous pictures. People don't know they're being photographed. And I take them because they speak to me, just like the holding hands images speak to me. That's the next book that's up. And I have a 3rd one coming out after that on bicycles.
Wow.
So, a trilogy of photography books, but I'm excited by all of them. Holding Hands is very, very special because it was the first one and because it means so much to me on an emotional level as well. But I'm thrilled to be moving on and having these other subjects I care about just as much.
Oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to it as well, too, Diane. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
I would say my wonderful husband, Mace Neufeld, who just passed away 6 weeks ago, and taught me a lot. And I listened to him, thank goodness. I taped him talking about photography, and I have all his wonderful photography books and his photographs, which are fantastic to look through.
Oh, that's so amazing. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
If you're wanting to take pictures, start taking them of anything. The great news is digital photos cost nothing to take. You can't make mistakes, and just keep doing it. And if it feels right to you, try it.
And I'm doing so right now as we speak.
Thank
Once
you.
again, we're with author and photographer Diane Conn of their holdinghands.com and the book Holding Hands on the Mike Wagner Show. Diane, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We love to have you back. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
You can buy the book on Amazon.com called Holding Hands by Diane Conn, Conn. My website is theyareholdinghands.com. You can buy the book there and see more photos. And you can contact me through the website, theyareholdinghands.com. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And a pleasure as well, too. Once again, Diane, a very big thank you for your time. You've been totally amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. We wish you all the best, and you've got a great future ahead of you.